to another episode on the podcast. I'm so happy that you are here. So today's episode is going to be a little bit chatty. Something happened in my car with something called a spider, and I'm sorry, I am terrified of spiders. I don't know why I'm apologizing, but I just feel like it sounds dramatic when I say like I can't kill a spider, like I'm terrified of them. And I know we're obviously bigger than spiders, but like just the thought of the spider, it just terrifies me. It gives me like the creepy crawlies, if that's the right term. Like I feel like things are crawling over me when I think about them. Like I just think of like if I kill them, like the guts are gonna splash everywhere and then it's gonna jump on me, or it's gonna jump on me. Sorry, like I can't jump on you when it's dead, but you know what I mean. So I was driving home one night after seeing Pedro, and for context, we don't live together. I know we're engaged, and I know it can be like this whole debate of like you should live together when you're engaged so you can know how they are, and I know I'm not even going to go into that, but we've just decided, like we've made the decision ourselves, and we thought it was best for us to live together after getting married, and we have no issues with that. Like that's a personal choice, and it's fine if you decide to live with your person before getting married, before getting engaged. Like I think everyone is entitled to their own decision. But anyways, this is going to go into a rabbit hole and this is not what we're talking about today. So back to the spider story. So I was driving home one night after seeing Pedro, my fiance, and there is this forest that I have to drive through. Like obviously there's a road, but like the road, like surrounding the road is a forest. Like people can hike through it. I don't think this specific area people can hike through it. But anyways, there's a bunch of trees and this forest that I have to drive through. And at night, it's scary for me because sometimes I actually see coyotes on the side of this road. I see coyotes, I see foxes, I see animals, okay? And it's not like that every time, but I am conscious that there are animals out there. And so I'm driving and like I'm at a stoplight and I see this big ass spider crawl from my front window to close to my head. And I'm just like panicking at this point and like inside internally, and because I'm at a stoplight. And also I was in the middle, like there was two cars beside me, so I couldn't just like go park on the side. I had to like keep calm. So I did that until the light turned green, and then I just drove, and then like I didn't want to park on the side of the road because it was the forest, but I had no choice. I had to do it. So I parked on the side of the road. It is dark at this point, and it's obviously the forest on my side, and then like there's oncoming cars. I stop, I turn on my emergency lights, and I don't know what to do, and I just call my fiance and I'm like telling him the situation, and like he's trying to FaceTime me and like trying to help me and trying to calm me down, but of course I'm panicking because like I don't want to get out of my car because the thought of the coyotes out there and whatever is going to come out of the forest, and you know cars are coming and like the spider is there, so I don't want to stay there. So I immediately get to like the passenger seat and I just sit there and I turn my flashlight on my phone and I flash it on wherever the spider is, and the spider has stopped at, how do I describe this? Where the handlebar is on your driver's side, that's where it stopped, like right beside it. And oh my gosh, and I'm just like staring at it, and it's just huge, and like I don't know what to do. And my fiance is like telling me like, oh, maybe you can just, you know, hit it with your brush, the brush that you use when like you have snow in your car. I don't remember what it's called, but that's in my trunk. And then like I think, oh, maybe I can like hit it with the wheel lock that I have. It's like this long bar that I can use to like lock my wheel, my driving wheel. Sorry, I don't know the technical terms, but I had that in my passenger side that I could have hit it with. But then like the thought of just killing it and like its guts spilling out, and then or like maybe missing and then it jumping on me. I just had all of these thoughts and I was just in fear mode and I didn't know what to do. And I'm never the spider killer. Usually I ask someone else to do it. I'll ask my fiance to do it. He'll gladly do it. But I was alone and I didn't know what to do. And so all of these fear and these thoughts were like overpowering and all of these things. And I just wanted to cry because like I didn't know, I felt stuck. Like I couldn't get out of my car because if I did, there might be like things out there, and then I couldn't ask someone, like I couldn't ask another driver to like stop and help me because what if it's someone that's unsafe, like, you know, what if it's a man that's creepy and like I don't know, like all of these things. And so I just stayed there and like I was just panicking on the phone with my fiance. And finally, what happened? I think the spider started to move because I wasn't moving, and it started to crawl towards me. So I had no choice but to get out of my car. And so I panicked, got out of my car, and just like I just prayed that no animals were out there and that nothing was gonna harm me. And the spider crawled all the way to like the dashboard, the dash side, like the dash on the passenger side on the edge, like closer to the door, if that makes sense. So what I did, and it stopped right there. And so what I did was I had like a sushi, like plastic to go container because I had sushi for lunch. So I just took that container and I just whacked it, and like the container fell to the ground, and I was praying that the spider also fell to the ground. I saw no sign of the spider, and I thought, you know what? It's probably dead. It's probably on the ground. So I closed the door and then went to my driver's side to like get in the car, but then it wouldn't open because it was saying like the key is not detected. And then finally I got in the car and I just drove off, and I didn't think twice if like the spider was still alive because I needed to get home. I couldn't just stay in the forest in the dark all night. I couldn't do that. So I kept my fiance on the phone with me to like help calm me down, and I just drove as fast as I could. Thankfully, I got home without any like spider on me, so I completely thought that the spider died. Lo and behold, well, I'm not going to get there yet because I'm going to talk about what happened when I got home. So what happened was that I had triggers. I was in my feels because what this spider situation reminded me of was of a situation in the past where when I was with a certain ex, he abandoned me, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, but what I will say to help, paint a picture of how I felt, if this would help you, is that I felt alone, rejected, dismissed. If you can imagine how it would feel to be abandoned by someone you trust and love, that's how it felt. That memory like unlocked for me when I was in that car with the spider and I was left alone. No one came for me, and it just brought all of those things up. Like, obviously my fiance was there on the phone with me and he was trying to help me, but it just brought up those feelings and those memories of like, you're alone, like nobody is here to help you, like you have to help yourself. And it just brought up all those feelings, and I felt triggered, and all of these like negative thoughts and memories were coming up, and like I was just reminded of that, and I felt abandoned. And so I want to talk about the abandonment wound and like what that is. Abandonment wounds, usually they can stem from childhood, like something happened in your childhood, whether it was a parent or a guardian that abandoned you, or you had physical or emotional neglect in childhood, you felt rejected, you witnessed like parents persistently fighting or arguing, you experienced abuse, or you were abandoned, or it doesn't even have to be in childhood, like you could have been abandoned by a loved one or a friend, by a partner. That's where it can stem from. And then this can later on affect you in relationships, where you can create feelings of like distrust, like you don't have trust, you don't feel safe, you feel like the person is going to abandon you. You might have difficulty trusting someone new again, or you might withdraw socially. You might have codependent behaviors where you are going to be codependent upon this person. Basically what that means is you're going to do everything that you can for the other person's happiness just to like keep the relationship while ignoring your own needs and your desires. So those are some of the things that can affect you when you go into the next relationship. So being aware of these things is obviously helpful, because then you know why you are feeling the way you're feeling, why you have these urges to like maybe be avoidant in relationships, or why you aren't so trusting in relationships, or why you fear someone leaving you. So I had that. The wound was coming up strong for me after this spider situation. And what really helped me was to be aware, like, what is coming up for me? Why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? And then obviously being aware of the thoughts that are happening. So I had a lot of negative thoughts that were coming up from this. So thoughts like, people are going to abandon you anyways. People are going to leave you. People are going to leave you and reject you. The other thing is the self-abandonment thing, because I felt that I, in the past, would abandon myself. And what that looks like is like people pleasing, ignoring your needs, your desires just to please someone else. And this is something that I would do in relationships because I just wanted the other person to be happy and I wanted the relationship to be happy as well. And so I would put others before myself, even if I had a need for something. And so that is what self-abandonment is. And that was coming up for me as well with the spider situation, because I felt like, oh my gosh, this is what happens when you abandon yourself. Like nobody's coming for you. Like you're alone, because you would easily drop things for others and do everything for others. But when it comes to you, people are not going to do that. And so all of these negative thoughts were coming up. Emotions were really high, and I had to be aware. So that's like the first thing that you need to do when these things are coming up, is to be aware of your emotions and your thoughts, because the negative thoughts are not real. Usually, and my fiance and I have this phrase that we like to say, is that the devil be wicked, man. And it's true, like these negative thoughts are the devil, like trying to put these thoughts into you when they're not true. So the first thing is to be aware of these negative thoughts. Be aware of what it is that you are feeling, why you are feeling that way. Usually it's a trigger that can stem from something that has happened in your past, and then recognizing that. So recognizing that it's not happening in your current reality. It's usually something that it's triggering something that has happened in your past. These emotions are coming up again. The next thing is to obviously have the positive self-talk, shift the negative thoughts to positive thoughts. So I had to think to myself, I am not being abandoned. I literally have a partner who loves me, who is emotionally mature, emotionally intelligent, and makes me feel safe. He wants to help me. He wants to support me. He is there for me. He's always there for me. And he is there to reassure me, like at all times. And no matter what I'm feeling, no matter what I'm going through, he's never going to leave me. He's never going to reject me. He's never going to abandon me. So having those thoughts, and then it also helps when you express your feelings to your partner and they are aware of these things. They are aware of your past wounds. They're aware of what happened in your past and all of your triggers, and they are ready to easily reassure you. They don't dismiss your feelings. They honor and validate your feelings, and they comfort you. They reassure you, and they remind you. They're there to remind you the exact things that you would say in your positive self-talk. They would also remind you those as well. They would say, I am here for you. I'm never going to abandon you. That is exactly the things that my fiance said to me as well, which was also very helpful. So that is important to have a partner who can easily reassure you no matter like what you're feeling. If you express your emotions to them, they will validate it. They will reassure you rather than like avoiding you, running away from it, because they don't have the capacity to handle emotions. So that is very important to find in a partner, is someone who is emotionally mature, someone who is emotionally intelligent, someone who can handle when emotions come up. They are emotionally mature to handle them and reassure you. It's so important to be aware of those things, to be aware that, what am I feeling? What are these triggers that I'm feeling that are coming up? What is like, where did they come from? It usually comes from your childhood, from your past, something that, happened in your past. It could be a past relationship, and then shifting those negative thoughts, remembering that, these negative thoughts are not real, shifting to the positive self-talk, reminding yourself of what really is the positive, like what really is the truth. And then if you have a partner, having a partner who is reassuring, supportive, can be there for you and validate your emotions. Steps to heal the abandonment wound is really just self-love, giving yourself the love that you need, especially when you need it the most, especially when you are fearing that you're going to lose love, that you're going to be rejected, abandoned. At the end of the day, you have yourself. And so it's so important to remember that we can ultimately give love to ourselves. We can soothe ourselves. We can nurture ourselves, and also rebuilding our sense of self-worth, because abandonment issues can make us feel unworthy or unlovable. And so to rebuild your sense of self-worth will help you feel valued and appreciated. And so some things that might help with this is affirmations, journaling, making yourself a priority, and giving yourself compassion and kindness, forgiving yourself, and also spending time with people who are supportive and actually help you recognize your worth, and not be around people who make you feel worthless. Think about the people that you are surrounding yourself with that are making you feel this way. And that's also what I would say about dealing with triggers. If you're not aware of what triggers are when you feel this strong emotion. Like, the hardest part is when we're not aware of what triggers are, and we're not aware that it's usually something that is, like, a trigger is usually something that is coming from something that we did not heal, maybe like a wound that we didn't heal, or maybe like something from our past that we didn't like work through, or something that like it's inspiring us to, most of all, just discover what that wound is and like dive deep on what that is and like work through that. That's usually what it is. How I usually deal with triggers is usually that I usually recognize, I'm aware that like, okay, this is triggering me, like I'm feeling these feelings, and I try to dive deep on like, where is this coming from? Like, why is this triggering me? Is this something that happened in the past? Is this something that happened in my childhood? And usually I already know like my top triggers. I usually have like a list of them, not for myself, but also for like my fiance too. Also, like, we like to have a list of them to like remember what they are, but like obviously over time we know what each other's triggers are at this point. But yeah, I'm aware of them. I become aware of them. I then do the self-soothing and deal with the feelings that are coming up. If I have a journal handy, I will write out what I'm feeling to release everything that I'm feeling, and then I would do things that would soothe me. So writing out like what is actually true, which challenges the negative thoughts and the feelings. And then a meditation usually helps me. So having those handy is very, very helpful. I just turn to my meditation app, and I have playlists that like categorize each meditation for like a particular need. For example, if I'm feeling anxious, I have a meditation saved to that playlist specifically for when I'm feeling anxious. So having those things handy are so helpful for me. I just turn to those. And then obviously just having that time alone to like soothe. Obviously I share my feelings with my fiance, and like it helps that he will help soothe me as well. But again, it's something that I like to do personally alone, and that you don't have to have a partner obviously to soothe yourself and to feel better. It's just obviously a bonus if they're there to like help you and support you. So I want to remind you of that just to be aware of like these feelings that can come up, and that these thoughts are not true. These negative thoughts are not true. The devil be wicked and be trying to steal your peace. That's honestly the devil's goal, to steal your peace and joy in life. And it's God that wants you to be happy, that wants you to be at peace, that wants you to have joy. And then let me tell you, the next day after that spider incident, I thought the spider was actually dead, but turns out it is not dead, because the next day, again, when I was using my car and I was driving, thank God it was like in daylight this time, I noticed the spider again, and it crawled through the window again and went into one of my air vents, but it's the one where I can't close the vents. Like, you know how cars have those, like, I don't know how you call them, but you can like close the vent, but this one I can't close it. So I was just going through panic again while driving, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I pray that it doesn't come out of the vent and like crawl again. Thank the Lord it did not come out, but the whole time I was just like, oh my gosh, please don't come out, please don't come out. And I just had to like drive home and try not to think about it. I don't know what I'm gonna do. My fiance is gonna have to spray something. He said he has like a spray for like air vents. Hopefully that will help, but oh my gosh, I do not. If you are afraid of spiders and you have to deal with this, it is the most scariest experience, because like the other thing that I'm thinking about is like, I don't want to crash. I don't want to like, I don't know, if the spider were to go on me, I would just panic. So there's all of these things running through my mind. I also Googled what the meaning of spiders are, because I'm sure there's like a symbolic meaning towards them. And there actually is, fun fact, spiders have actually, well, there was various meanings that I saw on Google, but one of the meanings that I resonated with was, I have to like Google it, hold on. Okay, so there was a lot of like messages around patience. So like one of them is creativity. So central to the spider symbolism is creativity. Spider inspires us to harness our own creative energies, urging us to weave dreams and aspirations with intention and precision. I can't find the exact meaning that I sent by my fiance that really resonated with me, but it had a lot to do with patience and patience with like creative ventures. And I thought that really resonated with me because I just, as you guys know, like I just started my podcast and it was something that was on my vision board. It's something that I've always wanted to do. I really needed the reminder like to just be patient. And so I think that's what resonates with me the most about seeing the spider, and maybe that's why I saw it. So if that's what it is, like, thank you, spider, for showing up, but also not because I'm scared of you. It also reminded me of like my fears, and when you have fears, like it doesn't mean that you need to pause your life and like go into your shell, but it's to remind you like to keep going, and no matter what, like there's going to be a way for you, and you are taken care of, and you are protected. That was another reminder that I thought was helpful for me. So if that's resonating with you, I hope that is helpful. Like whatever you're fearing right now in your life, whether it's your love life or not, you are being taken care of. So that is all I have for today's episode. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a rating or a review on my podcast, or DM me and let me know. I would love to hear from you. And I will see you in the next episode.